Now at 10, a warming center in Webb City gives residents a chance to get out of the cold. Plus, we look at the challenges first responders face driving in extreme weather conditions. And we hear from a MoDOT official about how crews are preparing roads for winter weather.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The freezing temps are wreaking havoc on the 4 states, with several businesses closed and the city of Miami and Fort Scott both battling water main breaks. Unfortunately, relief isn't coming anytime soon. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Tanya Bach. We go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, it turned out to be another cold one for us today. We had record lows during the morning hours. We dropped back to -6. You can see the record low on the state was -1, set back in 1979. Average high is 44, average low is 25, so obviously we're well below where we should be for this time of the year. And we're going to see very cold temperatures once again for us tonight. Most of us right now, 0 to about 4 degrees. We're going to continue to drop back. We have wind chill advisories in effect again through the daytime hours for us tomorrow. The winds have lightened up a little bit, but still it's giving us that cold wind chill. We have clouds. We have some light little snow showers which are rotating through, but as we go through the night, we'll drop back again down to about -5, only back to 3 by 10 a.m. We do start to warm up a little bit more the next few days. We're going to look at that here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. This morning's sunshine was a big help for Oklahoma Department of Transportation crews as they continue clearing highways and turnpikes. However, slick and hazardous conditions remain in several areas, including Pawnee, Craig, and Delaware counties. Counties still reporting slick spots, but improving conditions include Mays and Ottawa counties. Motorists are cautioned, even if a highway looks clear, there still may be ice present. MoDOT crews have been hard at work since yesterday clearing or treating their roads of responsibility, with temperatures going back near or below 0 tonight. MoDOT says any of their chemical treatments will not work. However, they will stay on top of things.
We're just kind of in a monitoring stage right now because with the sub-zero temperatures at night and then single digits at best during the day. Today I think we got to 10 degrees, but we're just not doing a whole lot of good putting salt down. So we have mainly switched to abrasives.
And it's those abrasives that will help cars maintain traction on snow-covered roads before improving weather can help things out in a big way. Until then, MoDOT encourages everyone to take it nice and slow this evening and call 1-888-ASK-MoDOT to report any road concerns. In Webb City, the public library is operating not just as a library, but also a warming center. It's open from 9 to 5 throughout the week. The library director wants the community to know anyone can stop in to warm up and enjoy a free cup of coffee or hot chocolate.
You know, the whole part of being a public library is we're here for the community. You know, it's, yes, mostly, and it's about books and stuff, but, you know, it's also the community. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't, you know, be here.
Johnson warns library patrons to be careful as the parking lots and sidewalks may be slick due to the freezing temperatures. Well, because of the recent snow and dangerously cold temperatures, we are resharing a story from 2021 where KOAM's Chris Warner shares how that danger is amplified for first responders.
It's difficult to appreciate the size of an ambulance unless you're right next to one. Even this video doesn't do it justice. It's that size, shape, and weight that Jason Smith says makes them tough to drive in the snow.
The ambulances are very top heavy, so not only with the road conditions being a factor when we get the high wind with it like we had a night or two ago, can also make it challenging.
When it snows, changes are made to how they respond to emergency calls, like their speed, among other things.
A lot of time the other motorists, when they see the lights and sirens, they feel like they're forced to, veer off one side or the other. And so we want to be able to get to the call in a timely manner, but we also have to be safe doing it and make sure that we account for the safety of the other motorists that are on the road.
Smith says they also use four-wheel drive vehicles and have a great partnership with fire crews.
All the local fire departments are extremely supportive and helpful as far as even when it comes to just maneuvering the cot through the snow, sometimes is a challenge. So all of these guys are great to get out and, help us do that.
Now, to those fire crews. Fire trucks, like ambulances, are big, heavy, and tough to drive in the snow, even with four-wheel drive. So Leif Hasty says they've made changes too.
It takes a lot longer to stop the bigger apparatus for sure. The smaller apparatus are just as dangerous though. So we actually take it to where you see people running lights and sirens often. We don't. Whenever this stuff's on the ground, we tend to take the lights and sirens out of the equation.
They also slow down, which impacts response times. Another factor impacting those times, having to change routes in rural areas.
So we have to keep in mind that our response may change as far as the direction and the destination. So we usually have set response pathways that we take. And right now, with the way the roads are, you have to change that up.
In Joplin and Reddings Mill, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Well, coming up, Pitt State honors Martin Luther King Jr. Day by giving back to the community. Plus, voters in Iowa kick off the 2024 campaign season during tonight's caucus. Well, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and Pitt State students utilized their day off to do service around the Pittsburgh area. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
Martin Luther King Jr. is known for his movements to fight for civil and equal rights. Every year, people honor his legacy in their own way. The same can be said for students at Pitt State.
I kind of like the slogan of it's not a day off, it's a day on. Just kind of taking whatever time you have and giving back.
These students brave the cold temperatures to come together and not only serve their community, but honor a man who taught many about the power of service.
It doesn't necessarily have to go like, oh, I'm going to go do gardening at my local school or something. You could do something from home, and there's a lot of different options for services around the community.
This event was not just exclusive to Pitt State campus. Students had opportunities throughout the day to serve all over their community.
That's the whole point of being part of a community, is just kind of giving back to the people around you. It's not to better yourself, but to better everybody else.
This event marks the inaugural MLK Day of Service for Pitt State and is only the beginning for these students and their willingness to serve.
I feel like doing this day and doing all this stuff, like it brings us together as a community, and we can provide for a community and spread joy, spread happiness, and just all of us come together for one purpose.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
The events continued on until 7 p.m. this evening. Students and faculty all had the choice and opportunity to volunteer and serve both on and off campus. Well, people across the nation today are remembering the civil rights icon, Martin Luther King Jr. In the nation's capital, they braved cold, slushy conditions to honor the late Dr. King. The annual MLK Holiday DC Peace Walk and Parade is a strong tradition in Washington. This is the parade's 45th anniversary. In addition to honoring King, the event is a chance for people to call for political change and accountability. Congressional leaders unveil a new spending bill that would keep the government open and buy more time to negotiate and pass longer spending bills. Funding for some federal agencies and government operations is set to run out this week. Yesterday, House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer unveiled a short-term spending bill. The bill would avert a partial government shutdown and keep some federal agencies going until March. Well, the nation's first nominating contest of the 2024 presidential race has kicked off tonight in Iowa. Voters gathered for the Republican caucuses in the midst of a deep freeze. Natalie Brand reports from Des Moines.
Iowa caucus goers are braving the bitter cold temperatures, gathering at more than 1,600 precinct locations, including the only living room caucus in the state. It's a chance for voters to make their voices heard in the first GOP contest of the 2024 presidential election.
I was down to Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis, and I've just come to the conclusion that Trump has face the rotten situation.
I'm still trying to decide which candidate I like the best out of the ones that we have. I'm struggling with that a little bit.
The candidates maximized every last minute on the campaign trail Monday, visiting caucus locations and diners.
We can't continue to be a country in disarray with the world on fire. And we can't do that with 4 more years of chaos.
And squeezing in more town halls.
Leaders got to care more about protecting the freedoms and the jobs of the people he represents than he does about protecting his own political hide.
Heading into the caucuses, former President Donald Trump has held a commanding lead in state polling.
The spirit I see, the enthusiasm that I see, I've never seen anything like it.
For former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, it's a tight race for second place.
Here's some new voters for you.
How are you? Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time to come out.
Political watchers will be looking to see if the caucuses give Trump the landslide he expects and which of his challengers get a boost of momentum heading into New Hampshire. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Des Moines, Iowa.
Well, a little later, a nationwide Arctic blast causes millions of Americans to hunker down to stay out of the frigid cold.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a very cold day once again for us today. This is day number 4 that we've been kind of in the deep cellar with the temperatures. We did get some light snow showers across the region, mainly a dusting, maybe a 1/4 of an inch in spots. But for the season, with our little snows, we're at 3 inches so far for the season. Average for the entire season is 13. I forecasted 10 to 13, so we still have a ways to go. Last year, we had 6.5 inches of snow. Of course, we know it's cold. It's still dangerously cold, so don't go outside if you don't have to. Make sure you watch the pets as well. Temperatures kind of 0 to about 4 degrees right now. We still have that northwesterly wind, which is kicking in at about 5 to 10 to 12 miles per hour. That makes it feel colder than what it actually is, so that gives us a wind chill factor, the way it actually feels to your skin, at about -10 to -13 across the region. These are going to drop once again as we get into the morning hours. So if we go through the future, look at this. Wind chills are going to be sitting at about -20 by morning. Still, a lot of schools are out tomorrow, which is good because a lot of the roads are still snow-packed, and we have wind chill factors right around -20 by morning. They do improve a little bit once we get into the afternoon. Wind chills are going to be back up near 0 once we get into the afternoon. All right, clouds rotating through, flurries rotating through, a couple very light little bands of snow showers. Not a big deal, but don't be surprised if you see a few flakes flying as we go through the overnight hours tonight. This whole batch rolling off toward the east, and if we look out toward the west, there's not a whole bunch going on, but you can see the upper level winds are dipping out of Canada, and that's what's pulling in that cold Arctic air across the region. But it is going to start to moderate a bit once we get into the middle of the week, which is good. It's going to be nice to warm up a little bit. All right, let's go through tonight. We'll stop tomorrow morning. Actual temperature about -4, -5 degrees, clearing out. We are going to get plenty of sunshine on Tuesday. By noon, most of us at about 10 to 12. And then once we get into the afternoon, better, still bitterly cold, but better. I think most of us about 17 or 18 degrees for an afternoon high. Southerly winds start to kick in by Wednesday morning, so overnight lows not quite as cold, near 10. And then once we get into Wednesday afternoon, look at this, we get above freezing, 35, 36, 37 degrees, which is going to be great. We'll start to get clouds increasing again late Wednesday. All right, day planner for you tomorrow, -1 at 7, 10 by noon. High temp of 17, plenty of sunshine. We do have a weak, fast-moving wave, which is going to rotate in on Thursday. Still, we're going to go into the 30s for highs, but we could get a few light little snow showers with it. Unfortunately, we're going to go back into the deep freeze by Friday. High temps on Friday are only going to be right around 20, so Friday night, Saturday morning, back down into the single digits, into the 20s for highs on Saturday, and then we'll start to warm back up again as we head into early next week. All right, 17 tomorrow, 37 on Wednesday, 34 on Thursday, a few morning snow showers. High of only 20 on Friday, 24 Saturday, back into the 40s by early next week. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Doug. I need those warmer temperatures to return fast. Well, much of the country has been under a deep freeze this holiday weekend. Several cities experienced record-breaking cold, like Chicago, where freezing temperatures caused steam to rise from Lake Michigan. CBS's Omar Villafranca has more on the frigid weather.
Across the U.S., millions are hunkering down and trying to stay warm as an Arctic blast bears down on several parts of the country. In Oregon, strong winds reported to have reached 83 miles per hour sent this tree crashing through a home, leaving an elderly man dead. Parts of Maine's coastline saw record-breaking flooding, resulting in high tide that left streets underwater. In Texas, residents weren't taking any chances, leaving shelves at grocery stores empty as temperatures dropped below freezing. A big concern is the state's power grid. Texans are being asked to conserve energy this morning as temperatures remain below freezing.
We feel very good about the status of the Texas power grid and ERCOT to be able to effectively and successfully ensure that the power is going to stay on throughout the entirety of this winter storm episode.
And here in Memphis, officials opened up warming centers as cold temperatures plunge into the teens. The flurries are still coming down here in Memphis. The temperature is about 10 degrees. With the wind chill, it's -3 or -4. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Memphis, Tennessee.
Winter respiratory viruses have been hitting hard this season, and we should expect more illnesses to come. And while some flu indicators decreased last week, like hospitalizations, the CDC says it's monitoring for another surge. Experts recommend staying home when you're sick so you don't spread your illness to others. Well, coming up in sports, next week's NFL playoff schedule is set. We'll preview who the Chiefs play on Sunday. Plus, Pitt State men's basketball prepares for its road trip this week. Brock Baldridge has those stories and more.
Well, the Pitt State men's basketball team picked up their 9th win of the season on Saturday, beating Fort Hays State. The Gorillas have now won 7 of their last 8 games, and now the team heads into a 2-game road trip this weekend. The Gorillas beat Fort Hays State 74-62 on Saturday. Winning that game passes the Gorillas' win total from all of last season. Pitt State is currently in 5th place in the MIAA standings, and the Gorillas look to stay hot when they hit the road for Emporia State on Wednesday and face Washburn on Saturday.
I think the success, I think, are just guys are playing hard, they're playing together, playing tough, and I think obviously I think it boils down to anybody can see it. I think we have a lot more talent than we had last year, and when you have that and you combine it with guys playing together and really enjoy playing together, it makes a lot of success. But again, we have a long ways to go. We've been playing well as of late, but we got to continue. We can't be satisfied with where we're at.
Well, the NFL wildcard round rolls on into Monday, and the Kansas City Chiefs have already punched their ticket to the AFC divisional round. The only question is, will the Chiefs get to stay home, or will they have to travel for next week's game? Bills versus Steelers in the AFC wildcard. Fans have to shovel their way to get to their seats to this game. First quarter, Bills strike first as Josh Allen connects to Dawson Knox in the end zone. Buffalo takes a 7-0 lead, and the fans are going to throw snowballs flying everywhere into the crowd. Next Bills possession, Josh Allen's going to gash the Steelers defense up the middle right here. Dalton Kincaid makes the catch for 29 yards. Touchdown Bills. Looks like the Bills are going to easily run away with this game, but not so fast, my friend, in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh down 24-10. Mason Rudolph finds Calvin Austin III for a touchdown. Steelers cut the lead down 24-17, but Buffalo looking to respond now as Josh Allen will complete this over the middle to Khalil Shakir and somehow escapes the tacklers and slips his way into the end zone. Buffalo goes on to beat Pittsburgh 31-17, and the Bills advance to the AFC divisional round. So with Buffalo winning, that sets up this matchup next Sunday. The Kansas City Chiefs will face the Buffalo Bills, and the winner will advance to the AFC Championship game. It's the 3rd time in the last 4 years that the Chiefs will meet the Bills in the postseason. Kickoff is scheduled for 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Well, the results are in, and the Kansas City Chiefs game against the Miami Dolphins in the AFC wildcard round becomes the most streamed event in U.S. history. Yes, it was the first ever exclusively live-streamed playoff game in NFL history. Viewers flocked to Peacock, driving the internet to its largest U.S. usage ever on a single day, consuming 30% of all internet traffic during the game per NBC Sports. So I know a lot of people are kind of upset that that game was on Peacock, but it did very well, at least in the streaming market.
Well, I mean, they weren't going to not watch the game.
Exactly.
They had to find a way to watch it.
You basically
they just weren't happy about it.
They were basically forcing people to download it and watch it. But
So this Sunday's game, how can you watch that?
right here, KOAM on CBS. So
You do not have to stream
you
it
don't
on
have
Peacock.
to stream it anywhere. No,
No.
just turn on your TV right here on this station.
All right, that sounds good. Easy peasy. We'll be back with more. Busy professionals are looking for love and trusting one networking site to link them up with their perfect match. Business Insider report says more people are using LinkedIn, the online business networking site, for dating. The report cites a Pew survey pointing to why both men and women feel disappointed using regular dating apps. Women often feel overwhelmed by too many dating app messages, and men often feel like they don't get enough messages. All right, here's Doug with a final check of your forecast.
All right, a bitterly cold night once again for us tonight. Most of us down to about -5, -6 degrees. Sunshine tomorrow, but a high of only 17, so still bitterly cold. We are heading in the right direction, 37, so we break that freezing point on Wednesday. 34 on Thursday, a few morning snow showers, and then colder again Friday, Saturday, into Sunday, but rain chances by next week.
All right, stay warm, 4 states, and thanks for watching. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.